Oh, guys, we have it. It's officially upon us. Games have slowly now started leaking to other platforms from the Xbox ecosystem. And we got the first four. A lot of people think this is the only four. I'm okay with some of this aspect. I'm not okay with all these aspects. Now, obviously, Phil Spencer came out there on that stage and he said that these four were coming. He refused to give the actual names of these games. Now, there's a lot of scenarios that goes into that. Well, he said that there was already pre-marketing going on. I would assume that, as far as Grounded and Pendiment, they were on the Nintendo Direct. So that would be one of the reasons why Phil didn't want to come out there. They probably have some existing agreements with Nintendo stopping that from happening. So let's pop over here and let's see what these four games. The official four games going over to PlayStation and Switch. Well, PlayStation, Switch did not get one of them. Is these four games. We got Grounded, Pendiment, Hi-Fi Rush, and Sea of Thieves. Now, first off, obviously, let's address the elephant in the room. We knew what this was. If you guys been following this channel, I've kind of been going into these games, going up and speaking about it in a variety of different ways. And we knew, for the most part, what the four games were. Now, the Pendiment, I've seen people put like Killer Instinct in its place. I do think Killer Instinct is going to come eventually. That's what I've been told in the past. I don't know if that's going to happen. Hit it with a grain of salt. Let's talk about Grounded and Sea of Thieves. Now, even though that these are particularly the type of games that you would see on Xbox, and I would say especially Grounded and Sea of Thieves, they have been very successful for Microsoft, especially Sea of Thieves. You could argue that Sea of Thieves is the Xbox One generation flagship. The game that they have originated during the Xbox One ecosystem during that generation, and they made a lot of money off of it. It's a games as a service. I'm kind of curious if they would ever make a sequel to this with a better engine, more resources, because Sea of Thieves has been extremely successful for Microsoft. And I'm okay with Sea of Thieves and Grounded going there, because when it comes to those particular titles, as much as they do bring value to the ecosystem, I would say that in terms of games as a service, if you want that to flourish as much as it possibly can, it's got to connect to as many people as it can. Especially Grounded. I feel like Grounded has a lot of life left in it. Sea of Thieves too. Sea of Thieves has a lot of life left in it, but I do feel like in terms of Sea of Thieves, it's ran its course a long time. So maybe this will breathe life into it so it gets a second air. But Grounded hasn't been out a whole lot, not too long, couple years. And I feel like Grounded definitely opening up, especially to the Switch people. We know that the Nintendo Switch, that area and that demographic, they will flop to something like this. I think April. Now, obviously, they got certain things on here, so let's go back to this and let's read when these games actually come out. Pendiment is actually out February 22nd, so tomorrow, Pendiment is coming for PlayStation 5 and Switch. Then we got Hi-Fi Rush. That's coming out for a digital storefront on the 22nd, so that's tomorrow. And then we got Grounded, and it's coming out for everything essentially, and also supports crossplay, but that's April the 16th. I'm way more open to them bringing these games to Xbox and PlayStation as long as they offer crossplay, because I do think that is one of the initial things. What's the point in bringing these games as a service if they don't allow you to have crossplay? Because I feel like crossplay is a key component to this industry. And if you're putting your games, especially games as a service, on other platforms, it's really important that you have those games cross-play. And then Sea of Thieves on PlayStation, April the 30th. You're able to do it on the wish list starting tomorrow, which is interesting. The majority of these games are coming out tomorrow. Having a passionate community, more than 35 million across the world, and it will also support cross-play on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And while I experience epic adventures with friends or more platforms, you know, they come out here and be a little bit more specific on these titles, will join franchises like Minecraft, Call of Duty, Overwatch, Diablo, which has already reached players, fans of multiple platforms. We're excited to bring more players to experience these worlds. So look, obviously this is happening. You know, this is the first 4 games. I would agree to a lot of people saying this is more experimental than anything. Depending on how these games do, would probably depend on how hard they go into this. I don't know if it's going to be something that they just start. These games don't meet their internal expectations, and then they just like, look, it was a great experiment, but we don't necessarily see the long-term growth on these platforms because we haven't really been seeing it to that degree. These are 4 pretty big games. Now, I would say Grounded and Sea of Thieves definitely are going to do well because they're games as a service, and they already offer a huge amount of content because of how long they've been out, especially Sea of Thieves. I'm assuming we're going to see some closely related stuff when it comes to Sea of Thieves on PlayStation. I'm wondering if they'll work with PlayStation, bringing more content related to PlayStation 2 Sea of Thieves. Now, if they do something like that and they work together and they maybe make God of War sales or some kind of related content to the PlayStation brand, I'm curious if they would allow that to be over on Xbox. Hey, look, times are changing. The biggest thing on here is I don't like Pendiment and Hi-Fi Rush going, even though that those 2 games are very small in comparison, and you could definitely make the argument that they're not selling consoles in any way, shape, or form by themselves. I feel like it's still bringing value in terms of single player to the Xbox platform, and I believe that those games have a place in the Xbox ecosystem. Sure, could they make more money putting these on every platform? Absolutely. And I think you could say the same thing about God of War, same thing about Horizon Forbidden West. Obviously, you can't compare these games to these particular games. All I'm saying in the grand scheme of things is you could take that narrative and you could spin it across everything. But there's still reasons why people do what they do when it comes to the exclusive brand. And that's just it when it comes down to it. I'm not going to really go too much into this because we've clearly talked about this. I have multiple videos on this thing. I don't agree with the vast majority of the direction they're leading, and I don't know where this is going to end, where this is going to start, finish, where one philosophy is going to end and one's going to pick up. I think a lot of this is just variables we don't know, and those biggest variables is how well these games sell on the competing platforms. If Hi-Fi Rush comes out and it sells millions on Steam, on PlayStation, and then they bring it out as a launch title for the Switch 2, and it sells millions there too, then you could probably look at, will they go the direction where they say Hi-Fi Rush 2 is only on Xbox for a little bit? If you guys really enjoyed Hi-Fi Rush, we got something for you. Or do they just say, look, these games sold very well. They have a fan base on these other platforms. Let's just do day and date with Hi-Fi Rush 2. I'd prefer the latter. Not the latter. I'd prefer the first one. Give these people a taste of the Xbox ecosystems and force them to come to your platform to play the sequels to a certain degree in a certain time limit. After like a year and a half, maybe 2, most likely it's going to be like 6 months. I don't know. That's just variables we don't know. Then the sequel could go over to the other platforms. But I'm just curious. The future of gaming is different. It's clear. PlayStation has been saying that they have been having issues in AAA development, and clearly Xbox has been having issues because they are bringing some of them to other platforms. Is it going to end with these 4 games? I don't know. You guys know how I am about this. Only time will tell. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button. It's always appreciated. You can always sub to the channel. I make weekly content over here. Am I right 100% of the time? No. Am I wrong 100% of the time? No. I'm just a dude on the internet giving you my opinion, and that's no more, no less. You can follow me on Twitter at Lord Addict ILP, and you can also follow me on Addict Arena YouTube. I stream stuff over there. More conversations like this one, and I stream games. I'm going to be streaming Final Fantasy Rebirth when it comes out. But anyway, I appreciate everyone coming through. Until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace. This has been a crazy week, guys. Wow.